Holocaust Memorial Day is obviously being marked very differently this year. The pandemic means that none of us are able to gather in person. Instead, many of the usual commemorations are taking place online. I very much welcome the fact that they are going ahead in this format because Holocaust Memorial Day is a hugely important occasion. It is an opportunity to honour the victims of the Holocaust and subsequent genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. And as such, it reminds us of the persecution people have suffered for their ethnicity, religious belief, disability or sexual orientation. But today also has another purpose, and it is one which is summed up very well by this year's chosen theme. Be the light in the darkness highlights the responsibility we all have to promote truth and tolerance and reject prejudice and division. In recent times, we've been reminded of why that is so important. In societies around the world, the forces of intolerance have become much more apparent, and that is something we must take incredibly seriously. A few years ago, I took part in a visit to Auschwitz. I was there with around 200 pupils from across Scotland, and the experience of being there in the camp and seeing the piles of hair, shoes and suitcases is one that I, and I am sure those with me, will never ever forget. The Holocaust and the other atrocities that we mark and remember today must serve as a warning to all of us. They show what can happen when intolerance and prejudice is left unchallenged and when hate is given free rein. And they remind all of us of the need to tackle lies and prejudices wherever and whenever we come across them. Those are lessons which it is important to pass on to the next generation. The young people of today will, after all, shape the kind of society we have in the future. But of course, all of us need to understand and apply those lessons in our daily lives. We must continue to strive to build a better, more tolerant society and a safer, more peaceful world. And through our words and our actions, we must continue to try to be the light wherever there is darkness. So on this important day, let us remember the victims of the Holocaust. Let us also remember the victims of the genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. And in their memory, let us recommit ourselves to building a world where such atrocities can and do never happen again.
Good morning, everyone. On the 27th of January every year, it's Holocaust Memorial Day, and this is a day each year when we remember the 6 million Jewish people who were systematically persecuted and murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators during the Holocaust. So why the 27th of January? Well, the 27th is the day that Auschwitz-Birkenau, which was the largest Nazi death camp, was liberated. Here is a picture of Susan Pollock. Susan grew up in Hungary and experienced anti-Semitism from a young age. In 1944, Susan was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau, where she was separated from her family. And after that war, she found out that more than 50 of her relatives had been killed, and that only she and her brother had survived. On Holocaust Memorial Day, we also remember the other groups of people who were persecuted and murdered by the Nazis. These include the Roma, the Sinti people, who are sometimes referred to as gypsies, disabled people, gay people, Jehovah's Witnesses, political opponents, and many others. Rudolf Bradster was the last known concentration camp survivor. He was deported specifically for homosexuality, and he was sent to prison twice, and then deported to Buchenwald concentration camp in 1942, where he was subject to forced labour for 32 months. After the Holocaust, the world said never again, but humanity has failed to learn lessons from the Holocaust, and genocides continue to happen around the world to this day. On Holocaust Memorial Day, we remember the millions of men, women and children who have been murdered in the genocides which followed, and they have taken place in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia and Darfur. Here's a picture of Eric, and Eric played for Kigali's top football team, and during the genocide in Rwanda, his fellow players protected him from the killing. Today, Eric runs an organisation which uses football to promote tolerance, unity and reconciliation in the UK and Rwanda. So what actually is genocide? It's when a group of people is targeted for destruction just because of who they are, such as their race or their religion. So genocide does not happen just out of the blue. It's the result of prejudice and persecution, which sees a group treated differently from the rest of society. On Holocaust Memorial Day, we are reminded of what can happen when prejudice and persecution are left unchallenged, and of our responsibilities to stand against these processes when we see them in our own communities. This image shows the 10 stages of genocide and helps us to know what warning signs to look out for. The stages may occur simultaneously or in a different order. So what happens on Holocaust Memorial Day? Well, this took place on Wednesday of this week, on the 27th of January, and across the UK, thousands of local events and activities took place in schools, community libraries, prisons, museums, galleries, and faith groups, and many more. And these activities include lighting candles, performances, art projects, readings, talks, and much, much more. Each event is an opportunity for people to reflect on the lives of people affected by genocide and to challenge prejudice, discrimination, and hatred in our own society today. So why is that important to us? Well, that's because people, unfortunately, are still discriminated against today because of their religion, their race, their sexuality, or another element of their identity. Whilst we are not at immediate risk of genocide here in the UK, hate speech and prejudice are frequently seen online, and the number of hate crimes recorded each year has been increasing. Outside of the UK at this very moment, genocide is taking place in the region of Darfur, which is a part of the country of Sudan in Africa. So what can we do? On the screen are lots of ideas of things that individuals, groups, schools have done in the past to mark Holocaust Memorial Day and remember the people murdered. By holding this assembly, we are already doing something to mark the day, learn about genocide, and remember all those affected. Maybe you have an idea of something else you would like to do.
Auschwitz by Charles N. Whitaker. The semi-quaver chugging of the train on the track, and the people on board who will never go back, and the terror in the eyes of all the young ones to go, with no one knowing as the train comes to slow. Those men at the station as the ramps drop down, where humanity lost is the only crippled sound. Hope gone for those who stand behind the hard, sharp wire, and the smoke in the towers rises just a little higher. And the blue ink stabs a little harder in the skin, above the veins of despair where murder let it in. And the terror in the eyes of all those about to leave. Another train on the track, no last-minute reprieve. And the slow, crotchet chugging of the train on the track, and the people on board who will never go back.
So young people can get involved in Holocaust Memorial Day through a youth programme, and as part of this programme you will learn more, take part in challenges and be supported to do your own activity for Holocaust Memorial Day. The web address is on the screen for anyone who's interested in finding out more. So let us all today commit to do something ourselves, either in our class or other school, to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. And let's stand up against prejudice. Let's find out about where genocide is taking place and learn about those affected by it, and tell others what we have learnt. Your voice is amazing, and we will end with a short film, reminding us of the power we all have to stand up and speak out against hatred and prejudice today. Be the light in the darkness.
My voice can
My
voice can
Eric can.
my voice can.
My voice can transform.
Transform.
Transform! Like before your very ears.
My voice is as big as my imagination.
Our voice has traveled through generations.
My voice can make you feel
heard.
My voice comes to you through poetry, orality, passionately, because words are
My voice speaks for my family whose voices were silenced.
It's not always easy, but I try to use my voice to speak out against hatred.
Use your voice.
Your voice. Your voice.
To speak out
Against injustice.
humiliation and hatred.
Hello, Surrey Scots School. This is just a very quick message to you today as part of your assembly. Wherever you are watching this clip, whether you're at home or in school, I hope everyone is keeping safe and well during these strange times. And during this last while, it's been really good to see the school getting back to normal in as much as it can. Both the pupils and the staff getting on with the work, and despite how difficult things have been, that you're all doing really well. And it does, and I do mean this, it does give the community a real lift to see the school keeping going. And yes, I know many of you are working from home, but at the same time, it is so good to see things going on in the school, to see the school keeping going. And that is why I would encourage you all to keep on doing that, to keep going and not to give up. These difficult days will end, we don't know when, but it is important that we all remember that. In the Bible, Paul, one of the followers of Jesus, said that nothing was going to distract him from following Jesus and from teaching about him, and not even being badly treated, not even being put in prison, not even death itself would stop him from doing what God had called him to do. And he compares this to running in a race, and he said that one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and straining for what lies ahead, I press on towards the goal for the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. And that's his focus. Over this last while, we've got used to what people are calling the new normal. We've got used to keeping 2 meters apart from each other. We've got used to wearing masks. We've got used to saying stay safe to each other. We've got used to hearing people say that we're in a year like no other. But I suppose in one way that's true, but that doesn't mean that it is the worst possible year of all. And we have to keep things in perspective. We have many reasons to be thankful here in Harris. We have many reasons to be thankful for the safe place in which we live and work. We have many reasons to be thankful for dedicated teachers and staff in the school. We have many reasons to be thankful here in Harris that we have been kept safe, and because of the technology that is available. A few years ago, VScene and Teams weren't available, and none of this would have been possible. So we have many reasons to be thankful. And I would just encourage you to make the most of the opportunity, keep things in perspective, and keep on keeping on. May God bless you all. I would like to thank Mrs. McSween for this opportunity to speak once again to the school. And I pray that God will bless your assembly and all that lies ahead of you all. God bless you now.